I'm Terrisavellefoy, your cheerleader of dreams. I want to start today's podcast with 3 powerful words. You ready? Take the challenge. What challenge? To build self-discipline that will drastically change your life in only 30 days. This is the quickest way I've become a person of discipline, with a 30-day challenge, one habit at a time. Trust me on this. If you want to shift your mindset and completely change how you see yourself, take the challenge. Because listen, if you want to change your life, change your habits. So let me just answer, why do you need to challenge yourself? Well, growth always starts with a challenge. And here's the good news. You can do anything for 30 days. Let me get my little calendar here. 30 days, that's it. 30 days of discipline, consistency, 30 days of pushing past your feelings, 30 days of showing God you're serious. Why does this work? Because a challenge rewires your identity. See, when you prove to yourself that you can stick to something, even one small thing, you start to see yourself as capable, consistent, and confident. You go from, I wish I was that kind of person, to, wait a minute, I am that kind of person. And I'm thrilled to see how many of you have responded to the free download I put together of 100 30-day challenge ideas. This has become one of our most popular downloads ever. People seem to love the 30-day challenge. So get your free list of ideas to get your wheels turning and just choose one new discipline to start and do it for 30 days. You can click the link in the show notes and get your free list of ideas right now. Now, we have to talk about the thing that will try to rob you of your 30-day breakthrough. What is it? Excuses. Excuses are lies your fear tells your potential. They sound like, I'm too busy, I'm not ready, what if I fail, I've tried before, next month will be better. Let me remind you of this truth. You can't conquer what you continue to excuse. So if you're always explaining why you can't, you'll never experience what happens when you do. In fact, I want to share a few famous stories of people who went from excuses to execution. First, let's start with Sarah Blakely. You know, the Spanx founder. And I love talking about her because she invented a product that changed my life. I can wear white pants now. Okay, Sarah Blakely, she was selling fax machines door to door when she had an idea. She had no investors, no business degree, and no experience in fashion. But instead of making excuses, she made a decision. She stayed up late learning how to write a patent for herself. She got turned down by every manufacturer she called until one finally said yes. And she said she spent 2 years just bootstrapping her business. Well, today she's the youngest self-made female billionaire in history. She even said, don't be intimidated by what you don't know. That can be your greatest strength. So no excuses, just execution. Let me tell you about another person I admire, and he was my guest speaker at my annual success conference called The Next Conference. It's Inky Johnson. Inky Johnson was destined for the NFL. Might as well grab a football. Until one tackle left his right arm paralyzed forever. And he could have let that tragedy be the end of his dream. But instead, he said, the thing I thought would be my greatest setback became the very platform for my calling. Isn't that amazing? And today, Inky inspires millions as a speaker, an author, and a leader. But he made a decision. No more excuses. Let me tell you one more story. This one is about a fellow redhead, Ed Sheeran, who went from couch surfing to concert stages. I don't know if you know this, but did you know that Ed Sheeran was homeless, sleeping on friends' couches and subway benches? And he said he played hundreds of tiny little shows, got rejected over and over. But he committed to playing music every single day for 30 days straight. Isn't this amazing? Writing, performing, sharing his story. And of course now, he's a Grammy-winning, chart-topping global artist. Ed even said, I don't think anyone truly fails unless they stop trying. So I'm telling you these stories because what would happen if you stopped explaining why it's not the right time and you started executing on what's been in your heart for 30 days? Just imagine, something as simple as 30 days of waking up early, 30 days of journaling your dreams, 30 days of saying your declarations out loud, 30 days of working on a business idea or making time for your fitness. 30 days of showing up for you, because habits shape identity and identity shapes your destiny. In fact, let me tell you one more true story. It's about me. There was a season in my life when I just felt stuck. I had no vision, no direction, and honestly, I didn't even like who I was becoming. I was just in a rut. So I made a decision not to change everything overnight, and I'd never even heard of 30-day challenges, but I just decided to commit to 3 simple habits for 30 days. One of them was to just wake up early. The first thing I challenged myself to do was just wake up a little bit earlier. So I decided 1 hour earlier than usual. And I'll be honest with you, it wasn't easy. But I knew if I wanted a different life, I needed a different routine. So I started making myself go to bed 1 hour earlier. See, that extra hour in the morning, it became sacred. I wasn't rushing, I wasn't reacting, I was leading my life instead of life, letting life lead me. And guess what happened? That 1 hour became the space where my dreams were born. Why? Because it was quiet, it was peaceful, and it made me start to feel in control of my day again. Just that simple habit transformed my entire life. And it all started with a 30-day challenge to just wake up 1 hour earlier. Here's another one. Number 2, I said I'm gonna make myself read for 20 minutes a day for 30 days straight. Not scrolling, not browsing, reading, like actual books on vision, discipline, success, mindset, faith. And at first, it honestly felt like torture because I hadn't read since I was in college when I was forced to read for class. But for pleasure, for personal growth, no, I had never done that in my life except the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleader Manual. But I realized something. You can't live a new life with the same old thinking. Well, that 20-minute habit began reprogramming my mind. I realized that if I wanted to earn more, I had to learn more. I started dreaming bigger, thinking differently, believing that more was possible because I was feeding my mind what it needed to grow. And those books, they became the mentors I didn't have. And to this day, I read something every single day, even if it's 1 page. Okay, another one, number 3, was to write my dreams and goals. Finally, I started writing my dreams and goals every single day, not just once a year, not just when I felt inspired, every single day. Now, this was something I read from Brian Tracy. He said to write them down every day for 30 days. Even when it felt silly or I wasn't sure how they would happen, I wrote things like, I will speak to thousands. I will write a book, have a TV broadcast, pay off our house, inspire people to go after their dreams. See, I was speaking faith, by faith, over my future with a pen and paper. Brian Tracy said that by doing this for 30 days, your dreams and goals get so ingrained in you that you start looking for ways, looking for opportunities to make them happen. And you know what happened? I began attracting divine connections. Doors started opening. Ideas began to flow. My self-image started shifting. And the girl who once had no vision became the cheerleader of dreams. So the result is massive momentum. Think about it. Those 3 simple habits, wake up earlier, read for 20 minutes, write my dreams and goals, they didn't just give me new results, they gave me a new identity. Because here's the truth. Consistency creates confidence, and confidence creates momentum. So it didn't take a miracle, it just took, here we go, a 30-day decision to stop living on autopilot and start designing my life on purpose. I want you to know you are 30 days from momentum. And when you get momentum, everything changes. Your self-image, your belief, your results. So the key isn't intensity, it's consistency. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. And let me remind you what God's word says. This is in Hebrews 12:11. It says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Did you catch that? Discipline today equals harvest tomorrow, but you gotta stick with it. So I wanna help you with the quickest way to build your self-discipline with a 30-day challenge. So I put together 100 30-day challenge ideas for you to pick from. Pick one thing and commit to it daily. No excuses, just execution. You can click the link in the show notes to get the free download right now. And I'm telling you, you can do this. And when you do, your identity will rise to match your destiny. Now let me leave you with this. You don't need a better plan. You don't need a miracle. You need a decision. And I believe this 30-day challenge is your launch pad to a life you love. So today, let's just draw a line in the sand and say, challenge accepted. I want to say thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and share this with someone who would love to take a 30-day challenge with you. Let's go after everything God has put in our hearts to do. And remember, I'm cheering you on to live your dreams.